Welcome to picturesque Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and Road America for round... Excuse me. For the next round of the Chrissiest Cup. Tony Spasso up in the booth with you, joined with me by my standard partner in crime, the man, the myth, the living legend from the Great White North himself, Mr. Kevin Cunyu in the production truck. And joining me again in the booth, and a welcome addition to the announce team, Mr. Ernie King. Gentlemen, welcome to Wisconsin.
Good evening.
Good evening, buddy.
So, 4 miles, 14 turns, and a ton of elevation change.
Hey, Jones,
I'm expecting carnage.
Chris Jones, you got a copy?
Oh, one sec. We got.
I'm expecting a lot of four-wheel driving today. That's what I'm expecting for sure.
I'm expecting a lot of things, to say the least.
Well, it's always interesting when you throw stock cars on a road course. Let's just start off with that. It's always, it's always going to be interesting.
Absolutely, because you have 3,660 pounds of go fast, turn left, now trying to turn both left and right. What could possibly go wrong? And, just a quick look at the hot lap times, and they're all over the place. I mean, you're talking a 14 second gap between first and last place that actually posted a time in the warm up session. A 2:10.1 was quick time in practice, and the last car to post a time was a 2:24.7. You can tell who the road course ringers are and who aren't necessarily as proficient on a road course. As qualifying underway right now, Chris Bass in the 97 currently sitting quick time. Now, they're only giving him 2 laps to get it done.
I tell you, sorry to jump in there, who's going to be hot on the heels of Chris Bass. It's going to be Christopher Cook.
Absolutely, and Chris Cook in the 95 was the one to go quick time in the hot lap session. But the thing is, they're only giving him two laps to get it done, and the issue with that is, it's very easy to dip a wheel at this track. So all it takes is, one exploit of track limits, and you've just thrown away 4 miles of hard work.
Yeah, you have to absolutely just start it all over and hope you get that second lap right, or that it does not happen on your second lap, and then you have to stand by your first lap time, which is probably not going to be very fast because you have no heat in the tires.
And I don't think Chris Cook just had that problem, as he just set a provisional track record for a Cup car. 2 minutes, 9.396 seconds.
I don't mind pointing out that he's also from the Great White North.
Yeah, so that's going to make Kevin in the production truck happy, because it's a fellow Canuck. Which remind me, when they have this competition caution that they're talking about on lap 10, there's a story that a friend of mine from up in Bowmanville, Ontario, told me how they named the country.
All right, I will.
So, again, qualifying underway. We do need to mention that tonight's broadcast is being brought to you in part by our very good friends over at the Diecast Nuts. And Diecast Nuts with a Z, by the way, not an S, as they are a community-driven forum for everything diecast. Buy, sell, trade, share. Just post pictures of your collection. And with the holidays coming up, ladies and gentlemen, they have a shop area where you can get that special gearhead in your life, some awesome garage signs to hang. And, I happen to know a couple of Mopar fans in my life that may or may not be receiving said gifts for the holidays. But Diecast Nuts, DIECASTNUTZ.com. You can also find them on their Facebook page. That's where the shop area is located. It's Facebook.com/Diecast Nuts. So, the car is currently on track right now. There is the 35 of Chris Ritchie just finishing his second lap. Not going to improve, or actually he does improve on his first lap time. No, I'm sorry, he's currently on his second lap. As we have Chris Bass thinking about maybe firing one off again.
I believe Leach is out on track also for his second attempt. He got on track the first one, I believe.
Chris Papa in the Crisco 13, not to be confused with that Crisco. He is out on track right now on his first lap, kind of threw it away early on. As he's coming into the uphill section to try to bang one off. Let's follow along with him real quick as we're going to go over the track relatively quickly here as far as where they are.
Well, we might not be able to.
And that's not going to happen. Okay.
Yeah, looks like that was the end of qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
Well then.
Ernest, could we get your microphone just a little bit closer there, bud?
How's that, better?
Much better. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
So, only 6 drivers able to get a clean lap in under the qualifying session. That, of course, is your pole sitter and unofficial track record holder, Chris Cook in the 95. He's going to be joined up on the front row. Oh, somebody hurt me now. He is joined up on the front row with the 97 of Chris Bass. Chris James is going to be joined on row number 2 with Chris Crowder. And Christopher B. Williams is going to be joined with Chris Ritchie in row number 3. Now, those are the only 6 drivers to get a clean lap in. So the starting order is basically based on their practice times, and not a lot of guys put in practice times either. CJ Mason and Chris Raul Meza are going to roll up in row number 4. Row 5 sees Chris Reese and Chris Otto. CJ Jones and Chris Bailey Galinas in row 6, with Chris Lawrence and Christopher Jonathan Leach in row 14. Row 7. Row 8, we see Chris Landy and Chris Corvo. Starting in row number 9, we see Chris Ryan Jones and Chris Robarge. And Chris Papa starting shotgun on the field in 19th. So 19 cars here, 35 laps, the total scheduled distance. We are going to see a competition caution on lap 10. Now, Ernie, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What are you expecting to see during that first 10-lap rep?
Well, I went out on the track myself just to see what the track was like. I've never run on this track before. And I'll tell you, it is a handful. No matter whether it's the first lap or the 10th lap, you are going to have your hands full every single corner in this racetrack. It's going to be tough. I expect, like we said earlier, I wouldn't necessarily say carnage, but some four-wheeling. There's definitely going to be some cars stuck in some sand traps. You get the left sides or right sides off the pavement just a little bit, and it's going to get you around. It's really touchy out there. I had fun driving it, but it's tough. It's really hard.
This is definitely not the easiest track to get around, as they are heading through turn 2 right now.
This is a challenging,
turn 3, I'm sorry.
It's a challenging track in a road course, so, just to put it in perspective there. Now, before we get started, Tony, do we have any shout-outs to any other sponsors for this race?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, good to know.
But then again, I am the company mushroom. As they're heading into the downhill section, that is known as the moraine sweep that leads into a double left-hander that are turns 5 and 6. Now, mind you, they just came under the Sargento Bridge, which is actually considered turn 4 because there is a little bit of a kink there.
That corner they just went through, the one that you were just talking about, that sharp left-hander, every lap that I ran when I was out there on that racetrack was the one that got me every single time. I could not nail that once you come up that hill. That thing is downhill, and it is sharp.
Well, the second part of it, as you come up the hill, the car gets real light. It's very easy to swap ends, as right now they're heading through, coming out of the kink and headed to Kettle Bottom. Or no, I'm sorry, I take that back. They're going through the carousel right now.
That's right.
Now they're coming up on turn 11, also known as the kink, which we will see momentarily here, right there where those cones are. That's considered the kink. And down into Kettle Bottom, which is a long sweeping straightaway. It's very deceptive. You've got to be real careful coming through this section. And then they're going to go into Canada Corner, into Thunder Valley, into the Bill Mitchell Bend, and then the 90-degree right-hander that leads back onto the Road America straightaway. And that's going to be one lap here, as right now they are going through Thunder Valley.
And I would like to mention that the track temperature is a cool 120 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, very difficult to get around here with everything being that greasy. They do have one fast repair, 6 total sets of tires for this piece, as now they are coming through turn 14 and back onto the main straightaway, which is a long uphill section. You've got to get a real good run out of 14 as the pace car is in. Cook has control of the field as they head into the uphill, crest that hill. You got to be kind of careful going through there as the green flag comes out, and we are underway to start this 35-lap fun run for these guys. And already pressure for second place. That's 3 wide, and one of them going through the grass.
That looked like the one car to me from what I saw.
That was Chris Williams in the Ace going for a ride as he tried to take it 3 wide going through there. And we got one parked nosed in.
That's the 71 Christopher Landy.
Yeah, so Landy not having the night he was hoping for. Came out of the corner and in the downhill just kind of got it all wrong going into the braking zone and nosed it into the wall. Doesn't look like he got a lot of damage on that car. Meanwhile, up in front, Chris Cook is checked out.
This field is really strung out. We've had some cars go off the track in the back there, but looks like we're nice and some one by one. Oh, the 13 loses it, loops it around.
Yeah, we jumped back to take a look at that one. We're live now.
So Chris Poppin, the 13, having more trouble after he could not get a clean lap in qualifying. The 71's off again. The 88 is now off again. Chris Otto going for little lawnscaping duty. The battle right now is heating up between the 37 and the 9. Chris Lawrence all over the back bumper of Chris Meza. No, I'm sorry. That's Leach in the 48.
Yeah, he's worked his way up from the back. He's running, what's that, 9th now, right there behind Meza.
Trying to make it happen right now.
He's being really aggressive. I was talking to him pre-race. He's very happy with the way his car was driving, but it looks like he's looking something like his car and kind of moving forward a little bit.
Well, he was wondering why he didn't have the speed, and I think the little pep talk that you and I both gave him before we went live, before we both jumped up here in the booth, has really helped his outlook on this race, as he's really making some headway now, currently sitting in the 8th slot, and now on the back of the 9 of Chris Lawrence.
You know, to bring it up again, once again, when I was out on the track earlier, it has so many elevation changes that sometimes you forget about what it's going to do to offset your rear end or front end of your car when you're going uphill and downhill, when you hit the brakes, when you hit the gas. It's so extraordinary here.
And there goes the 98 of Robert, getting a twofer there. As he just threw it to the inside as both Meza and Leach slid it wide. And that uphill, if they just came through, that'll catch you out every time if you're really not careful, because you crest that hill and you're in the braking zone by the time you get to the top of the hill.
Right, no doubt about it.
As they come under the Road America Bridge and coming up to the carousel, this is one of those other areas of the track where you've really got to be careful with your throttle management, because you kind of got to use the throttle and the brake to both turn the car at the same time. And into the kink, Robert is starting to really stretch his legs right now, as he is all over Chris Lawrence for 7th. Now, the reason why we were talking about the battle this far back, ladies and gentlemen, is because this is the only battle on track right now. Chris Cook has checked out in 2.5 seconds to the good. Chris James is another 1.5 seconds behind second place Chris Bass. Bailey Galinas is almost 2 more seconds back. Then you're 2 more seconds back to Chris Crowder. And Crowder and James are starting to have a little, or were starting to have a little fracas between the two of them. Jones, though, looks like he had trouble somewhere and we missed it, as he has dropped quite a few spots already.
And the 98 of Mr. Rayboard's finally got around him, and now he's setting sail to see how much further he can get up the front.
Absolutely. Robert gets by Lawrence going through 1 into 2 and down the hill into 3. And again, it's a deceptive corner, because you're going downhill, but it doesn't feel like you're going downhill. And you're carrying a little more speed than you want to. Under the Sargento Bridge they go. And Lawrence under pressure from Leach now, as they're heading into the moraine sweep that leads into that very tight left-hander into the uphill. And right where they're about to go, right there, you're in the braking zone as you crest the hill. So you've got to know what you're doing and be on the binders and be ready for lockup. As there it goes, Meza gets it all wrong and almost eats the tires, comes back out on track with dirty tires and right in front of the 24, who's missing his hood.
I don't think aerodynamics is going to matter too much on this track, though.
Actually, it does,
really?
Surprisingly. As Meza goes off again, going under the Road America Bridge. Let's follow along, and I'm not sure if the boys in the truck can do this or not, because I'm not sure if I gave them the right channel to do so, but I did put a GoPro on Chris Cook's helmet just before he climbed in the race car. So if we could follow along for a lap from his driver's view, that would be awesome.
go.
As he hauls it off into turn one, you can hear just the throttle control that he's doing. Come over that little crest, and you're grabbing a gear, so you're off the throttle. So that's about where you need to do that. Throws it into the right-hander, and now you're just powered down as you head under the Sargento Bridge. The road kind of falls away from you just a little bit, and we're going to see how he handles that double left-hander.
Yeah, that's the one that got me each time.
Because you're going downhill and you carry so much speed, the car wants to pick up momentum. Handled it pretty decently there, kept it on track, and you can hear that he was on the brakes before he crested that hill.
Right.
He's got a 6.5 second gap right now over Chris Bass, so he can afford to be off the throttle that early. But if you're battling someone, you kind of forget that that's going to happen, and the car on the inside has a very good opportunity to take both cars out. Heading into the sweeper now, and you can just hear that. You can hear that throttle control.
I don't know. I think either one of you guys have run this track before. Do you know if the equal turns are like even between left and right? And the reason why I ask is because I see that his tape marker is a little bit more to the left than it is center up, which I would think I would use on the road course going left and right.
I think it's mostly right-handers.
It is mostly right-handers. Most of the pink-ish turns are to the left. There's only 3 true left-handers on the course, and that's 5, 6, and 8. Everything else, you're turning hard to the right. It comes up the hill and under the flag stand. And that's a lap here. That's a lap here at Road America, and that was 2 minutes 13.6 seconds.
I'd love to show you his driver details, but that overlay isn't working all of a sudden.
That's okay, but he's 7.5 seconds to the good right now. So the battle right now looks like it's between Crowder and Leach. Leach all over the back bumper of the 77 of Crowder as they both gotten by Robert. And it looks like he had an off somewhere. That car's got a little crinkle to it.
Oh, looks like he overdrove that one a little bit.
Just like that, Crowder just yields way to Leach. Leach on a charge right now. As looks like Lawrence now under pressure from. Is that the 9?
That is the 9.
That's Crowder under pressure from Lawrence. As they throw it into the downhill section, into that right. And, you've got to be, again, real careful, even if you're battling with somebody. As Leach gets a little sideways, cresting the uphill. As Leach, Crowder, and Lawrence just in lockstep right now. That is one of the closest battles on track. It's actually the next closest battle. We got to go back all the way to 12th position between Reese and CJ Jones. Hang on to her. Chris Reese getting a little sideways as Jones has to now give way to Chris Williams. And Williams is now going to try to reel in Reese and keep Jones at bay. So there are some battles going on, but again, your leader, Chris Cook, is just flat out checked out as we are going to be 5 laps into the books right there as he crosses the start-finish line. So, also looks like Chris Otto has already put it on the hauler. So,
I saw at the beginning of the race that he asked for an EOL. I don't know if that had to do with anything.
He gave it to himself, actually.
Right.
Chris Otto started from the tail end of the field, as did CJ Mason. Now, Mason has already gotten by Chris Papa. Papa having a night he'd just as soon forget, as he is in severe danger of getting ready to go a lap down. He's 35 seconds behind 17th place CJ Mason. Mason kind of on an island all by itself. And you're 5 seconds more forward to the 71 of Chris Landy, who's been having problems himself. He's almost 10 seconds. Oh, no! Tries to avoid the spinning 33 of CJ Jones and noses it into the tire wall. And here comes Corvo uphill, and he's missing the nosing at Chris Donald's car. So, major problems for Landy tonight. And it kind of stems back to the curse of the Golden Arches. Just ask Bill Elliott about that. As
We've got a battle heating up it's still going on for second between Bass and James.
So Chris Bass and Chris James starting to heat that battle up for second. They're both on the podium and over 10 seconds to the good over fourth place. Bailey Galinas in the 78. The uphill section. James not close enough to use the draft, but that Ford Mustang is steadily reeling in the 97 of Bass.
Slowly but surely, I've been looking at the times, and it's been consistently each and every lap. He's just knocking off little by little. It's almost like he's getting them into the corners.
And that's exactly where he's getting them. As you can see, he closed up a ton there. Bass is trying to float these corners, and this is not a track where you can really float the car. There's a few corners where you have to, but you've got to attack the corners here at Road America, or you're going to get smoked. And here we go, right on the back bumper. James within sniffing distance as they come into that uphill section that can catch you out. And they're both kind of tiptoeing through there, letting the cars float, letting the cars settle, getting it turned in, and now look for James to continue his attack, as there's not going to be any major elevation changes again until they get to the front straightaway.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you, are there really any, as they call it, passing zones that they would want to make that move on, or would they try to do it maybe like right here in the long sweeper would be a good chance, or are there any like real obvious places they would like to do that?
Well, if you've got cojones the size of a raging bull, you can try it through the Kinks area, but you better make sure your life insurance is paid up. Now, as they're coming up here on the turn 12, turn 13, turn 14, this is a good area where they are right now. Coming through Canada Corner, you can usually catch somebody out if they get turn 13 wrong, but if you can get a good run into 14, you can usually use the draft coming through the uphill, and it doesn't look like James got a good enough run, as Bass really able to lay the power down and hold him at bay as they put 7 laps in the book, so 2 laps to the competition caution, as this battle for second place just raging right now.
Oh, yeah, he must have sensed him or looked in his mirror and saw him coming, and he just kind of stretched out a little bit. Not too far, just a little stretch, but he did put a little room in between.
We're looking now. Sorry, go ahead. We're looking now at Chris Robert back in 8th, and he's behind Lawrence and Crowder, and off in front looks like who was that?
Papa. That was Papa doing
went
some yard maintenance. As there goes Lawrence, now sets his sights on Crowder. You got to think, if everybody right now is just running the car as hard as they can, and figuring out what their tire wear is going to look like. So you're going to come in on lap 10, or when the competition caution comes out, as soon as the pits are open, come in, get 4 fresh shoes on the car, figure out what your tire wear is looking like, and, you know, maybe, I dare say, try to two-stop this thing.
Does anybody know what the, did they start with 100% fuel, or do you know what the fuel count was?
75%.
75.
And the track temperature has actually dropped 2 degrees. We're down to 118 degrees.
Lost him a little bit there battling. He'll get her gathered back up and get her straight again.
Yeah, you can see that there doesn't look to be a lot of nose damage on that car, but he is struggling right now. I'm thinking he just, his throttle control is not where he needs it to be, and he is falling by the wayside right now as Robert starting to reel in Crowder some more, all over the back bumper.
Yeah, I'll quote Mr. DW. He's happy hopping it. I think that's what he called it back here.
There's nothing happy about that. You're using blue language, as the old comedians used to call it, under your helmet.
Yeah.
They come through come up to Canada corner here, and the battle's still raging on between Crowder and Robert. They're starting to gap Lawrence a little bit. But how about Chris Leach, already into the top 5, did not place a qualifying lap that was clean, but he's got this track kind of figured out right now, kind of on an island on his own. He's got a 5-second gap over that battle between Crowder and Robert. As Crowder able to keep Robert at bay for now, it looks like Robert might be a little better in the infield technical section, whereas when you can really get the power down, Crowder seems to have the advantage there.
So I just saw a car break off and head down pit road. Do you think there would be any strategy to pitting before that competition comes out?
That's
absolutely.
Papa.
Oh, that's Papa in the pits. No, there's another car in the pits
Chris
too.
Bailey.
That's the 78 of Galenas, and that's a pure strategy move right there, because you know the competition caution is coming out next lap. You know everybody is going to be coming in. He just got himself a free pit stop. He's essentially going to be restarting this race from pole position, because everybody else is going to come in and get their tires.
Yeah, and then running under that yellow, he's not going to be heating his tires up. He's probably not going to use, much tire right here before the competition caution comes out. So I think that's a pretty smart call, actually.
That is a pure strategy move. As you hear it all the time in Formula One, where the caution comes out, nobody has pitted because they don't want to give up all that track position. Whereas they're either going to pit before, or they're normally going to try to pit before or pit after. And here we go.
Our battle for second has cooled off as James has somehow lost pace with Bass. Or is that Bass? Sorry, Bass.
Bass. And Chris Bass, I believe, has finally turned the wick up. Yeah, his lap times have drastically improved over the last couple. There were a few laps there where he was down into, well, no, actually they haven't. It's just the fact that James, his lap times have fallen off, so he may have gone too hard too soon, as no real change between first, second, and third. That's where they started and how they started, but take a look at who's sitting in fourth right now. That is the number 48 of Leach, and
we have 2 more takers on pit road, guys. The 77 and the 98 of Crowder and Raybors have come in. Maybe they're taking a heed to that strategy of pitting before the competition caution.
The thing is, I thought the pits were closed.
Nope, I saw them. Yeah, they looked like they were open when they came in.
Well, that's just it. I thought they were supposed to close the pits one lap prior. Well, apparently they didn't. So we're going to see what's going to happen here, as I can't see who that is yet. That's the 33 of CJ Jones getting ready to go a lap down to your leader as he sends it off track. So Jones gets Canada corner all wrong. And
We're still green. And
absolutely.
And the second and third just came up on Jones as he was struggling to get it collected and back on track.
So we need new fire suits to this 97 and the 2 pit, please. As Cook comes up to put lap 10 in the books. And I
Got
still
another one
don't
off
see
in
the
the back of
competition
that
caution. But that battle for second, here we go.
shot. This is it.
Bass with the defensive move. James realizing what's going on, going to try to go around him the hard way here, trying to cross him over, coming out of 1 into 2 they go. That's that little kink that they just went by. Here they are into 3 and getting ready to go under the Sargento Bridge. His best opportunity is going to be in that downhill section, as he's looking there already. Wow, that's a weird view. I just got a view from the Sargento Bridge as they passed under. That is sketchy. And there it is. Caution is out. So that is going to tighten the field back up. But yeah, your big winner on this looks like it's going to be the 78 when all is said and done.
Yeah, and then it looks like the 98 and the 77 came in after him, so that's probably going to be your top 3 unless somebody states out, which I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, because you're going to be coming in. I would dare say most of these guys are going to be coming in, only because if you don't, you're a sitting duck for everybody that's got fresh tires behind you on the restart. Now, the other thing, too, to take in mind is when you do take that, you take those tires, you're gonna be needing to, to really watch what the tire wear is. So you're gonna be, watching your black boxes for the rest of the caution, going, okay, I can pit here and here. You're gonna take a look at what your fuel mileage was during this first run. And you're gonna figure out where you need to pit to break this next 25 laps up, and be able to make it to the finish, hopefully on only 1 stop. I dare say that the guys that have already been in, they're probably not going to be able to do it.
I was getting ready to say, do you think the distance that who was that, the 78 that came in first, lap 8? Do you think because he didn't throw the caution, maybe he went a little too early, is what I'm trying to say? You think maybe he did?
No, I don't think he went too early. It's just the fact that, he was looking to get track position, and as we've seen time and time again, getting to somebody is one thing, getting around them is a completely different one. As I am going to try, while we are under caution, just need to find him. And I don't see him. Right. So Ernie, can you do me a favor and see if you can find Chris Cook anywhere in the Discord server? As thank you to the boys in the production truck, especially my partner in crime, Mr. Kevin Cunyu, for reminding me. And I need to get it pulled up, so hold on 1 second.
I do not see Mr. Cook in Discord.
That's what I thought. Okay. So I just need to bear with me here, folks, because I am completely unorganized tonight, and I do apologize. Tonight's broadcast also being brought to you in part by DeMarzo's Gears. For all your gear train needs, DeMarzo's is who you need to get in contact with. You can find them at 661-212-3389. Again, that's DeMarzo's Gears. SimNut Racing Sims for everything you need to enhance your sim racing experience. SimNut Racing Sims, you can find them on their Facebook page. And our very, very good friends over at Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Matter of fact, I'm still thinking about getting one of those for my wheelchair. And again, we do need to also thank our very good friends at Diecast Nuts. You can find them on their Facebook page, Diecast Nuts, facebook.com/Diecast Nuts, or their webpage, diecastnuts.com. And with the holidays coming up, they do have a shopping area that, again, custom garage signs and reasonably priced too. So check them out. As let's see who else we can harass during this caution.
Just a reminder, I am watching the chat. If anybody's got any shout outs or questions for any one of us in the booth to answer, or let us know who your favorite driver is or commentator. It don't matter. We'll get to it if we can. But
Absolutely. So let me see who we can find, and I'm not seeing a lot of the drivers on track in there. As a matter of fact, our top 3 are not in here, so that's a pain in the backside.
we can go to 4th, which at the time before he went into the pits was Mr. Leach worked himself up from the back.
Actually, I was thinking about reaching out to 98 of Chris Robert. However,
Looks like we've got wholesale pit stops happening.
and we do, as that is going to hand the lead of the race over to the 78. He's already been pit side. That's going to move Robert up. That's going to move Crowder up. So, and that's what we thought was going to happen. The 78 staying out. And let me see if I can find that young man. He's not in here either. Well then.
Ravor's is in there.
So yeah, let's reach out to. Bear with me here. Let's reach out to the driver of the 98, Mr. Chris Robert. Chris, looks like track position's all important tonight. We saw you go pit side just before the competition caution. That's going to move you up the field quite substantially. How is the tire wear?
It was like 99. Middle one on my right side was 94, and then the rest of it was like 90, between 92s in the 90s. So I'm just trying to save up the tires as much as I can. So when the yoke came out, I just had to save the tires. I don't want to wear them too much.
Well, again, we saw you come in a little bit early to try to gain some track position. How slick is it out there with as hot as the track is?
Throttle control, because if you do it too hard, you will spin right around the corners. Pretty easy on there. It is pretty slick, but you just gotta take it very easy around the throttle control. That's all.
All right. Well, best of luck to you, sir, and hopefully we're talking to you in about 25 more laps.
Happens.
Well, there you heard it. That track is slick. So, looks like he came in to top off the fuel tank. Currently sitting in 4th, though, so that's some good news. However, not such good news for the driver of the 78. if he looks in his rearview mirror, that is trouble with a capital T sitting behind him, as that is Chris Cook, who, before the caution came out, had a 15-second lead.
But that is just thundering around this racetrack.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that. If you want the definition of road course ringer, just pull up Christopher Cook's Wikipedia page and just look at his picture. That's the definition of a road course ringer. So it looks like Bass and James able to maintain coming out of the pits right behind Cook, but the strategy move for Galinas really paying off, as he now is going to have the button when we go back to green, and it looks like the lights are getting ready to go out on the pace car.
I'm just wondering what happened to Rayborge and Crowder. They both came in on lap 9. Were they in there repairing damage and just stayed in there until the caution came out? That's confusing to me.
No, they're still on the lead lap. I dare say they came back in to just top off the fuel tanks so that they're on the same fuel strategy, but not the same tire strategy as everyone else. And you heard him say, 5% wear for 10 laps, as hard as these guys were driving, that's not bad. We go some places where you go 10 laps and the tire wear is down to 70%.
Right.
That's, again, not that bad.
To be honest, the entire race, outside of the beginning, it's been pretty tight with these drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had different battles going on throughout the entire field, so it's going to be fun to see how this one plays out. As Galinas, with the oldest tires on track right now, gonna have the button as they come into the downhill section. That is the moraine sweep that leads into, and you can see right there that as the downhill, you can see it kind of sweeps a little bit to the right or to the left. Then they go into that hard left-hander that leads into that very sketchy uphill. That if you get it wrong, you're eating tires. Plain and simple, you're got a good chance of going into that tire wall.
Ice skating a little bit, probably. So I'm thinking maybe the single file restart's going to help the 78 out, maybe for a few laps until Cook gets his tires nice and warm, and then I think it's just hunting season for Mr. Cook there.
I'm thinking if Galinas lasts in first place to the Sargento Bridge when the green flag comes out, I will be greatly surprised. Solely because of the speed that Christopher Cook has had in that number 95 all night long so far. The only one to go sub 210.
Yeah, when we were in that in-car, I was watching, and I'm a driver, and I noticed the tape, and I noticed how sensitive and stiff his steering was, and for a road course, that's rails. That's nice.
Well, he's got the quickest ratio box in that car that he can get right now, and that's the key. Is you don't want to have to be swinging the wheel when you're on a road course like this. You want to just move your hands just a little bit, and you want that car to react as they come through or come up to Canada Corner here. You got to think that Galinas has got to have some nerves right now, because he knows he's got the oldest tires on track. He knows he's got to get away from Cook as best he can as soon as that pace car peels off, as he's starting to give a little bit of gap now between himself and the pace car. You got to think he's going to be going the second that pace car twitches to go onto pit road.
I would imagine so. Ovals are not the only place you want to do that. It gives you a little bit of advantage, but I think with how fast that 95 car is, I don't think it'll help him out for very long.
As the pace car gets ready to make that right turn onto pit road, into the uphill section, down just a little bit. crests the hill, holds him down. He's holding him down. That's surprising. Did not get going. And Cook gets a great restart.
Wow.
Cook timed that restart just about perfect, as so did Chris Bass in the 97. He runs the defensive line to hold James at bay. And we've got trouble in turn 1. There's a lot of cars doing some lawnscaping right now. Looks like Crowder in the 77 was one of them. Oh, that's what happened. Yeah, Crowder swung out to go around. I believe that was the one of Williams, who just was not up to speed and just lost it as he swung out. So
it looks like the 78, the kind of strategy that he ran did not work out very well. It looks like everybody's, I don't know if he's waiting for his tires to come in on the long run like he did last time, but it looks like the guys that were running up in the top 5 are working their way right back around again.
yes, they are, as Robert tries it on the inside. Ooh, that was Galinas getting it sideways coming through the uphill. So Robert all over his back bumper right now is Galinas doing what he can. As looks like Leach. Lawrence has got, oh, hang on to her. Chris Lawrence going for a ride coming out of turn 6. He had gained a couple of spots, was battling with Leach, and unfortunately just got it all wrong coming out of that turn 6 area. Meanwhile, back up in the front, that battle for second still rages on between Bass and James.
It looks like we got a nice 5-car battle back there where let's see, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
That's Galinas, Robert, and Jones. Robert doing what he can to try to reel in Galinas as bump and run from James on Bass coming through turn 2. And Bass not a happy camper right now as he gets it collected up and steps on his loud pedal and tries to get away. But right now, Robert under heavy pressure from Jones right now. And looks like the crew put a new front bumper on that car. He burned his fast repair.
Yeah, still was missing.
Yeah. And now that he's got that car back to running tip-top shape, and he kind of understands what he needs to do to keep that car under him, he is able to hang with Robert right now, and Galinas is steadily fading back.
Yeah, I was trying to look back and see where he was when he came into the pits before that competition caution. I wonder if he's actually a cycle back to where he was running before he went into the pits.
Well, we'll see, because he was running 4th. He was running 4th when he came pit side, and that let, at the time, it was Leach who was right behind him. And Leach is starting to get away from Chris Ritchie as Ritchie is faded too, as it looks like Chris Lawrence has gotten by him as well.
He was all over the back of that car. Shoot.
It looks like Leach just had a moment coming through Canada Corner. Did a little beach combing going through the feather trap. Keeps it going straight, keeps it pointed in the right direction. Now tries to set his sights on trying to reel in Chris Dillon as that battle still rages on. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th kind of throw a blanket over him. It's got to be a big blanket, but still in lockstep with each other. Nobody seems to be able to get away from anyone else. unless your name is Chris Cook, in which case you've got a 4.5-second gap over second place.
I was getting ready to mention that he is once again just checking out.
Absolutely. So, Ernie, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You said you've driven this car at this track. How are you going to break up this next 20-lap segment that we've got right now?
Me, I haven't ran this track before. I just got out there on some practice. But if I was running this race, I'd try to do it in halves. That way, nobody really has an advantage over you. Even if somebody waits and hits after you do, you're still going to get that track position back. And it's all going to even out either way, I believe. But I would try to do halves. That's probably the safest.
So if you're Chris Bass or Chris Gaines, are you going to try to pit before Chris Cook?
Now, if I'm
with him.
If I'm running second and third, I mean, it also depends on the gap that he has. I don't know if them two are on the same team. I'm looking through right here, right now to see if they're on the same team. But if you're on the same team and you're running second and third, you might want to pit a little bit earlier. But as that stands right now, I would probably just make a schedule and stay to it. Half and half. That's about it.
Right, go ahead.
The top three could be saying, all right, I'm going to pit when the leader pits. And then people behind that are saying, back fourth, fifth, and sixth, where Leach, Jones, they're going to say, I'm going to pit after me. It's a mixed bag, but I'm sticking half and half.
Well, right now, Chris Bass starting to stretch his legs over Chris James, as James has his rearview mirror starting to get filled with the 78 of Galinas. Galinas not falling off the pace like we were thinking he might. Hang on to her.
It's kind of leveled out now. I think all the tires are starting to level out. He stopped the bleeding, as we would say, and now he's probably looking to work his way back up to where, he's about fourth where he went in the pit, so it's about normal, right where it was.
It's a little bit of a lockup going into turn 5. Gets to the inside of James as they go into the uphill. Going to have to jump on the binders a little bit early. Going to fall back in line. Going to try that attack again a little bit later, as he's driving the tires off that car right now. He's really got to be careful, as he's already 9 laps into his tire run. And as hot and greasy as this track is, granted, it has dropped 5 degrees since the time the green flag came out, but we're still at 115-degree track temperature. And for those of you wondering, the in-sim time at this is middle of May. So May in Wisconsin, yeah, it can get warm, but 79-degree ambient air temperature. 79 degree Fahrenheit, by the way. For those of you in the Great White North, Kevin, what's the conversion on that?
Oh, geez, you're talking, nonsense as far as I'm concerned.
Well, the track temperature is almost 50 degrees Celsius.
72 is like 21. That's all I know.
Okay. So for those of us, our friends that aren't on the American system of temperature measurement. Roughly 21 degree ambient air temperature and roughly 50 degree track temperature. 2 mile an hour winds, so not really very windy. Here we go. Galinas still looking to figure out a way to get by Chris James, trying to use the draft to his advantage. James taking the defensive line as they haul it off into turn number 1 and starts a landscaping business.
Yeah, he was definitely leveling some grass there.
Absolutely. That's going to let Galinas get by him, as he's really driving the wheels off that car. I mean, you can see that he's just matting the throttle coming out of the corners, and he's getting tons of wheel spin. That's not going to be good for him later in this tire run, as those rear tires are going to be flat out whooped. Again, a little bit of lockup. He's got a lot of rear brake bias dialed in that car, I've noticed.
Yeah, once you get
Sideways.
in the grass or in the dirt or anything, it's probably going to take about a corner or two to get them things back cleared off and nice and clean. Looking at the chat here, we have Ann Stewart saying, "Go Chris Bass, number 97, running second right now, having a good day."
Absolutely having a great day right now, as he is almost 3 seconds to the good over third place, Bailey Galinas.
Them two, the last time we looked around, they were both squirrely.
Yeah, and by now everybody's burned all the goodie off their tires. You know, we're 8, 9, and 10 laps into these tire runs, and this track. Go ahead.
I have to say, I'm sorry to interrupt. It just Galinas is sliding around like it's a Hollywood movie, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, you're not trying out for Tokyo Drift 2, my friend.
You said maybe he needs to switch over to the dirt track. I just saw him again. He's turning more right and left than his rear end wants to go.
Yeah, he's turning left in the right-handers and right in the left-handers, and no.
There he goes.
That's not how you keep. That's not how you keep a race car under you for 35 good laps. And let's take a quick look at.
So he is back up to third place, gained another spot. So he's right there with Cook and Bass. I wonder if I'd like to know what his pitch strategy is, and if he knows he can wear his stuff out right now. And he's got a different pitch strategy maybe than everybody else, and say, okay, I could wear these things out, and I'm going in here shortly.
Oh, he went a little too far that time.
Trim and grass again.
And that's an easy one to do when you go too wide and it shoots you right over to the other side. God, that's happened to me a number of times on that corner.
So, I just got a little bit of an update from our co-founder, Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett. He and I used to race with the young man driving the 78. So what he's doing right now is really not a surprise, because we used to call that hammer-footed, where you just beat on the gas pedal like like you're swinging a hammer or a nail. You know, to some drivers, the fuel pedal or gas pedal is not analog. Some people think it's digital, where it's just a switch, it's on or it's off. And no, that's not what you really want to do, especially considering that Chris James, who has been keeping the tires under that car, is really starting to apply the pressure right now to the 78 of Galena. And I dare say that as they get a little further into this tire run, the difference between what James is doing in the 2 as far as throttle control and what Galinas is doing in the 78 as far as throttle control, it's going to really pay dividends to Chris James.
Yeah, and I agree.
And you can see it right there. He got a better run out of 14. And Galinas knew it and had to take a real defensive line, as right now James going to drop back in and just dog the kid for the next lap or two.
Yeah, well, the comment you said hammer footing it, that's something us drivers normally would do on a short track, where you're letting it roll through the center, and then you're kind of just bang, getting into it to get that drive out of the center. I wouldn't imagine really trying to do that on a road course.
It's one of those deals where, drive as hard as you can and apologize to the tires later. As we are 20 laps in the books of this 35-lap race, and there are some big gaps starting to form up, as right now this field more strung out than a methadone clinic. And are you seeing damage? Yes, I'm seeing a missing hood on the 48 of Leach, as he went from 24 seconds back, now 52 seconds back. So something happened to Leach.
Yeah, push, definitely. I see it. And that's so unfortunate, too, because right before that competition caution, he had worked his way up inside the top 5.
Well, the good news is he does or should still have a fast repair. And so,
Stop to go?
we have not seen the money stop yet for anything. And the distance that these guys have already gone, we're within the you can make it from here range. We've seen some of these guys already go 15 laps. So, expect to see green flag stops any moment now, or any lap now, as Bass really starting to not really getting away from Galinas at all, and Chris James still dogs Galinas just right there with him. So if you are watching in the chat, go ahead and let us know that you like this. Go to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications if this is your first time, so you don't miss a single broadcast here on ESBN. And stay tuned after this race, as our good friends, Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett and Mr. Frank Marchese, are going to be bringing you the Kicking Asphalt MPI Cup Series next. And I do not have where they are going to be. Bear with me here.
While you're looking for that, I'm looking for what happened to Leach. And he's had a number of off tracks, but I don't see any crashes, so I'm not sure what happened to him.
Well, he may have gotten into the back of somebody. That's very easy to do.
Especially when you're trying to forge. Well, that's funny, because I'm just looking at the replay here, and it looked like his hood was on it. Well, it's iRacing, I'm not.
Right.
It's there. It's there. It's not. Yeah. I'm looking at the front two, Cook and Bass. They both stopped on lap 12. And then you have Galinas, who stopped on 8, and then 2 drivers behind him, James and Jones, who started on 12. And then Rayboards, who started on 9, who stopped on 9, excuse me. So you have a mix of the newer tires and the older tires, but yet it's all right there pretty close, except for Cook, of course, who has that, that enormous lead until he has to make a green flag stop. But pretty good job holding on to those older tires, fellas.
Yeah, he was 10 seconds to the good the last time across the stripe. And, the next broadcast after this one will be in about 55 minutes from now. They're going to be going live. It's Sam Cooper Bennett and Frank Marchese with the Kicking Asphalt MPI Cup Series from Kentucky. So, be sure to tune in for that one. And again, like and favorite, and share this video around, because your help with that, ladies and gentlemen, helps us spread the word about what you're seeing tonight. So if you've got your favorite driver on track right now, it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And now, Kevin, you forgot to remind me while we were under caution, as we are talking about your countrymen leading this thing. Now, mind you, this story did come to me from a good friend of mine up in Bowmanville, Ontario. So the way they named the country of Canada is they put a bunch of consonants in a bag, and they drew them out one at a time. C, A, N, A, D, A.
There you go. That's a true story.
But, the man from the Great White North right now is just in dominance of this field. Whoa! A little bit of a pucker moment right there as Chris Landy got it all wrong coming.
Is that who it was?
Yeah, that was Landy running a little too much rear bias, swapped ends right in front of the leader, Cook. Cook will be able to take evasive action as he heads under the Road America Bridge and into the sweeper. That is the carousel.
At this point, he might as well be heading into the sunset with the gap he's got.
Yeah, pretty much. But expect to see pit stops start to happen here momentarily, because we are definitely within the you can make it from here range. And Cook doing a little drifting coming through Canada corner there. as Bass in the 97 just straight as an arrow, and it looks like the 71 of Landy had another off coming out of Canada corner. But Bass sitting in second, 11 seconds back last time across the stripe. Let's see what it is this time as he comes on to the Road America front straightaway. He's going to stay out for another lap. Cook has stayed out for another lap.
James
and across
jumps into the pit. Chris James, who is on the tail of Galinas, jumps into the pit. And I got to say, Galinas has really impressed me with his slip-slidey style there, managing to hold off James even after the off-track. And, you know, while he's got a much more slidey style and is clearly laying down more rubber than Bass, he's still, you know, reasonably there.
Yeah, I just
he is. Go ahead.
On our driver channel that Mr. Galoo should be coming to pit road this time around.
As Chris James, the first one to blank, bringing it down pit road. It looks like, I believe that's Robert in with him.
Yeah,
yep, Robert is in. Jones is in. Mm-hmm. So the three of them, the first three to blank. So James, Jones, Robert, trying to get the undercut on the rest of the field. And there's a surprise. I just saw the 48 of Leach flash by. So he has stayed out another lap. It looks like he's trying to take this tank as far as it'll go before he has to burn his fast repair.
Okay, so that's what it was. I must have saw the 24, and then the 48 got around him. So it's almost similar paint scheme, so that kind of confused me a little bit. Sorry, Ira.
Well, the 24 is right on the tail of Leach right now as they headed down into turn number 5 under heavy braking. Leach going to give way to the newer tires. Knows that he doesn't have anything for him and doesn't want to battle with him, especially this late in the tire run for the 48. So Jones in the 24, James in the Deuce are the first three to pit, along with Robert in the 98. As Cook stays out another lap. And there it is, Chris Bass peeling off.
Coming in. And Galinas coming in.
And Galinas right behind him. So that is going to hand... as soon as I can find somebody on the lead lap. That's going to essentially it. Now, James is going to have to hustle it to catch these guys. But...
Christopher Lawrence stayed out. His last pit was lap 12. Leach stayed out. His last pit was 12. But, I mean, they have such a distance. I think they're just, I mean, they can try it, but they're going to have to pit eventually.
Well, Bass just hit his pit stall, as did Galinas. And here comes the two of James at speed, flashes by. And drag race into turn 1, the 98 of Bass not having the stop he was hoping for. Now he's got to get by James again. And we've seen these two just throw haymakers at each other all race long in that race for second place. Now, mind you, Chris Cook hasn't come in yet, but the last time across the stripe, well, we're going to find out here, it was a 55-second gap to Chris James. And again, we're still waiting for Cook to come in as James under heavy pressure right now from the very fresh tires that are Chris Bass. And Bass's tires can't be up to temperature yet. Give it to the time they get to Canada corner, and yeah, he might have enough heat in the tires to make something happen. But if you're Chris James right now, you're just trying to keep this thing on track and run as fast as you can and keep the tires underneath it, as he is starting to pull a little bit of a gap on Chris Bass as they head under the Road America Bridge and into the carousel.
So I'm thinking maybe that Mr. Cook is thinking, because before green flag pit stop started, he had about a 10.5, 11-second lead somewhere in that area. I'm thinking maybe that he's going to ride this thing out as long as he can and hope that 10.5, 11-second lead is enough for him to get 4 tires, fuel, and out of the pits and keep the lead. It all depends on what kind of lap times these guys behind him are going to turn out.
Well, we're about to see what it is they're heading into Canada Corner right now, and Cook has already gone by again and stayed out. Gonna need about 55 seconds to safely get the lead, which is what he had over Chris James last time across the stripe. Let's see what it is on the fresher tires for James this time. Comes into the uphill section, and he is starting to pull away from Chris Bass. He has the clean air now, and 50 seconds. So James has cut 5 seconds out of Cook's lead on the fresher tires. You've got to think Cook has got to be thinking about coming in within the next lap or so to stop the hemorrhaging, if you will.
Yeah, that last lap, it was Cook ran a 2:16.56 and James ran a 2:12.32. So that is a huge amount of time.
And Leach is in, so look for him to burn his fast repair right now. Doesn't really have a choice. If he's got it, he's going to need to burn it. Hopefully he hasn't burned it already, because that was a top 5 car most of the day so far.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that he had to use it. His car was fairly clean that whole first run, so I would imagine if he didn't use it, for sure he's definitely using it. Trying to work his way back.
And there it is.
Yeah, he's good.
He just burned it as your leader, Chris Cook, coming onto the front straightaway here, and he looks like, yes, he is. He's peeling off. Whoa!
Squeezes by the damaged Tabasco sauce, Chris Sauce.
That could have ended poorly, so Chris Cook probably going to need to replace his fire suit under this caution. And that's what we were talking about. He's finally getting onto pit road to, to stop the hemorrhaging of lap times, and has James gone hard enough to eat enough into Cook's lead? We're about to find out. As Cook just hit his pit stall, James coming out of turn 14 right now. So Cook down and away. James comes over the crest under the start-finish line, and Cook is going to have to hustle it. And Bass has gotten by James. We missed that one, but again, the lap Tabasco car, or Chris Basco, 35. I don't have a 35. There it is, Chris Christie. So the undercut helped, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the dominance of Chris Cook. Bass and James are going to have to hope that Chris Cook steps on his own junk or gets caught up in someone else's dumpster fire.
Yeah, I kind of lost connection to the race and trying to load back in now.
I was wondering if that was you. So, right now, Cook just in control of this field. It was 35 seconds to the good the last time across the stripe, but he had his pit stop. Bass, James, and Galinas, nowhere really in sight right now, as we have seen the money stop working on lap 27 of 35. And in our chats, go ahead and let us know who you're pulling for. Do you want Cook to lead this thing wire to wire like he's been doing? Are you hoping he gets caught up in something? Let us know. And if you hate the sound of my voice, let us know that too.
No.
But again, Cook just showing the way. Bass and James still keeping each other within sighted distance. But Bass on those fresher tires seems to be able to go a little bit harder than James can. as really starting to stretch his legs now in second place. And Bailey Galinas under heavy pressure right now from the 24 of Ryan Jones. So Galinas and Jones running fourth and fifth, all over each other, throwing haymakers at each other right now. When we saw Jones has already burned his fastest there, Galinas has been playing trier strategy all night long. Gets a better run out of 14 as Jones gives up a little bit of distance to him as they haul it off into turn number 1. So Cook, Bass, James, Galinas, Jones, your top 5. Robert has had an off somewhere. No, he's just slipped back. He's there, but he's not quite on this battle. So if something goes horribly wrong with that, he can steal 4th place. But as they come into the downhill section that leads to turn 5, doesn't look like Jones is going to be close enough. Does close the gap up immensely as Galinas gets a little bit better drive out as Jones a little bit sideways, tiptoeing into turn number 6. Both of them are.
And I am back.
And it's good to have you back, sir.
Sorry it took so long, but I don't know what happened. It just kicked me right out of the race. It was weird.
Looks like you had
That's
a
iRacing.
Welcome to iRacing.
Yeah.
All right.
Now go home.
Right.
At least I find me funny. So Bass and James have gotten that one sorted out as there is a 2-second gap now between second and third. And there is a 16-second gap back to 4th place. This battle for 4th that rages on between the 78 of Galinas and the 24 of Jones.
So I'm still looking, and Mr. Cook still hasn't come in yet.
You are correct. No, he has.
He did. Yeah, you
He
missed
hit.
it.
Okay, maybe while I was out, mine didn't register until he
He
Okay,
hit.
I
That's why there was only a 6-second gap at the stripe last time by.
Now
Okay,
check,
they might registered yet.
check this out. The 78 is still driving like he was on old tires. That's just the way he drives.
Oh yeah, no, I drove with that young man. Back when I first met the co-founder of ESPN, Sam Cooper Bennett, and Spam and I were running first and second in a street stock league race, and here comes Daredevil, and dive bombs, takes it 4 wide as we're passing a lap car, takes it 4 wide down on the apron, and center punched my door and put Sam into the upper deck at Bristol.
Michael Waltrip move.
No, it makes Michael Waltrip move look intelligent.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Let's see how he takes this sketchy.
Oh, that's my favorite corner right there. That's the one that got me every time.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you got to be on the brakes before you crest the hill. Otherwise, you're skating. You're completely, trying out for Tokyo Drift 2. So this is the closest battle on track right now. The battle for 4th, as first, second, and third. 16
This
seconds.
is a hard.
Good.
This is a hard sweeper as well.
The carousel is definitely, it's a decreasing radius corner, so it can catch you out a little bit. And the kink, if you've got the cojones to try it, sometimes, especially on fresher tires, you can take the kink full tilt.
It looks like it's all mostly downhill too. Even when you go around this right-hander right here, it don't start going uphill until you get around this corner. It looks like.
And it's only a slight rise. It's not a huge elevation change from Canada Corner to 13. Then you crest 13 and then you really start to go into the elevation changes. Come on to the front straightaway here. And
what's interesting watching, his wheel control is that for me, those would be mistakes, but you can see the way how quick he is. Those are planned maneuvers that he's purposely countering,
Well, that one maybe not, but
I was gonna say I see him sawing on the wheel quite a bit. When we were looking at Mr. Cook earlier today in the race, he wasn't really doing all that movement on the wheel. He was kind of nonchalantly turning it to the right,
Totally,
and hitting
yeah.
grips, and he would let
that
it
would be why.
Corner, yeah.
And that would be why from Cook to Galinas is a 30-second gap.
That's right, yeah.
That's exactly why that gap is so big, is because smooth is fast.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, as a fellow driver, yeah, I think that's anywhere. The
Yeah.
less movement on the steering wheel that you have anywhere through the corner, really, it's just such a big advantage. Throttle, I mean, there he is again. He's making S's down the straightaway there.
Well,
But
that's why I'm just commenting on it, because you're absolutely right, and it's remarkable that he's up in fourth.
I think it's the fact that he's got the 24 Jones terrified of what he's about to do. And Jones is giving him space because it's only a matter of laps. The way that he's driving, something's going to go horribly wrong because his and just oh my god.
no, and I know exactly what you're thinking about. As a driver, if I'm the 24 car and I see the 78 car up there fishtailing, hitting the rubble strips and all that stuff, that 24 is going, okay, I'm going to sit back here for a little while and see if he does it to himself. And if he doesn't, I still have a few more laps to where I can get up there to him because I know I'm a little bit quicker.
Well, it's like a hitter and pitcher in baseball. If the pitcher tries to brush you off the plate 3 times, when you're standing up there for that fourth, that fourth pitch,
I'm moving into it.
you're leaning into it because he's gonna try to throw you a strike because he doesn't want to walk you. But at the same time, you've also got to be careful that you don't catch one in your ear.
So we've got Leach on the bumper of Crowder, and he goes off.
And he's lost the hood again.
Hurt him that much. Yes, he did. Hitting that sign, the DRS sign, I think took it off. But he was making some ground up there until that happened. Let's see what happens further down. I think he probably is going to lose some downforce on this one.
Try all.
That's unfortunate.
But,
it was really close for a while there. I was watching the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something you kind of hate to see because he was really reeling in Crowder. Still, running a top 10 race. But, let's take a look at the guys that weren't able to get clean laps in and how far back they started. You got Galinas, who started in 12th, did not get a clean lap in qualifying. Jones in the 24 started 17th, currently sits in 5th. Again, did not get a clean lap in qualifying. Chris Robert started 18th, currently sits in 6th. Did not get a clean lap in qualifying. Chris Lawrence started 13th because he didn't get a clean lap in qualifying, currently sits in 7th. Crowder was able to get a clean lap in qualifying, but he was 7 seconds actually, 7.5 seconds off the pace of your pole sitter, Chris Cook. Cook just blistered one in qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, is that a product of road course racing? Just to not have to run a qualifying lap and kind of, set your mind as a driver to say, okay, well, I feel confident that, this just the way I would think. Okay, I'm not confident that there's a lot of drivers that are going to be good or as good as me per se. Not me, but you know, the guys that started in the back, and they're eventually going to work their way up like some of them did.
Well, you know it's going to be a race of attrition because there's going to be guys that are going to make huge mistakes at some point or another. And that
77 off the track with Jonathan Leach pressuring him hard. I think he saw him coming and was like, oh no. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that goes back to what I was talking about, where he tried to go through the kink full tilt. He didn't. You can see it. He didn't even try to step on the brakes. Pancakes the wall into the Armco. Does a little lawnscaping, and Leach gets by to move up into 8th position. But you know, that's something that you gotta try it. You know, especially when you got somebody pressuring you, you've got to see, okay, can I go harder into this corner? Can I go harder into that corner? Here's the problem for Kreider now. Look what's coming behind him. The next car back from Crowder
Is Reese?
and that is Cook.
Oh, okay.
So Crowder currently the last car on the lead lap as they come up on the very slow Golden Arches. That is the 41 of
Yeah,
Corvo.
there you can see in this shot here, you can see me throwing it back and forth between Crowder and Cook.
Yeah. So Cook is coming with a head of steam, and you know he's 32 laps in the books. So. You know, 3 laps to go.
He's just been sailing it all night long. You know, I mean,
17 and a half seconds to the good the last time across the stripe.
he's really putting on a clinic. This is my first time calling a road racing for these guys, but really he's been the class of the field tonight. That's extraordinarily fast.
Oh, what happened there? There is major damage on the front of Christopher Cook.
There it is.
Oh yeah,
Holy crap, there is.
yes, there is.
I'm looking.
What did we miss?
What a turn of events! Wow.
I do not see where that happened.
I don't see it either.
Lap times, you see if that's actually going to hurt him here. Give me a second. Yeah, I didn't see anything either. I mean, we were flashing back and forth, and he was all golden.
Yeah, that's got to have just happened, and I'm not sure.
No, it's happened a couple laps back, because I'm looking at lap 33 or 32, and he's already got the damage. He got into the back of somebody.
Maybe one of those lap cars didn't know that it was the leader and didn't get out of the way.
I'm going to look.
Let's see when he crosses the line here. So 2:16.03 was his last lap, and Mr. Bass ran a 2:16.20. So even with the damage and maybe the slowdown a little bit.
Oh, okay, I see what happened. On lap 28, he got into the back of the one of Williams.
Oh, I see it.
Just gave him the chrome horn going into the carousel.
Oh, no, that's just Williams going off on his own.
No. It was lap 28 going into the carousel. Cook gave him the chrome horn to say, hey, get the heck out of the way. And Williams finally went high, and that gave a lot of damage to Cook. But it hasn't hurt his lap times.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say it looks worse than it is. I'll check the times at the next time past the line, but it still looks that he's still turning laps faster than the rest of the field.
So your closest battle on track right now for position is between the 78 of Galinas and the 24 at Jones. Jones is running out of time. Those popsicle sticks have been in the air. So Cook coming through the kink right now. Again, just still on a charge as he's getting ready to take the white flag only in a couple more corners. As he comes through Canada corner now. Bass is 18 and a half seconds down, 19 seconds back now. Chris James is another 15 seconds back from him. So Galinas in fourth and Jones in fifth. You know, that's your closest battle for position right now. And again, Jones quickly running out of time to try to make something happen as he slides it, coming through 10. They come through the kink, and we've got a car off track. That's the 41 again of Corvo having a night he'd just as soon forget. And it looks like Jones has picked the pace up as he's closed right in on Galinas. Are we going to see a bump and run for position between Jones and... No, we're not. As Jones does a little lawnscaping coming through 13.
At least he kept it out of the sand trap. He can keep on going.
Absolutely. And that's the key to that one is white flag is in the air. Final lap as he heads it into turn 5 and puts the 48 a lap down. So then there were 7.
Oh, wow. That in-car, you just see the hood crumpled up on this thing, but he is just continuing to, well, not mow because he hasn't hit the grass, but knock him down. Knock him down.
Oh, absolutely. He's on a complete charge. He's not lifted pace. Matter of fact, fast lap of the race, 2:15, 175 for Cook.
Yeah, and second.
Again, and through traffic.
Yeah, and Bass ran a 2:17. So it doesn't look, he probably sees that hood crinkled up and goes, that's going to help me through the left-handers and the right-handers, but on downforce.
Oh, absolutely. It's more downforce. But coming through the kink one final time, leading up to Canada corner, looks like he's getting ready to put another lap on the 13 of Papa.
Who's got a wonderfully modified machine.
Absolutely, almost looking like a pavement modified. Just need to get the fenders out of there. But gives plenty of room to the leader as coming through 13 for a final time over the crest. And that's another area that the car can get light. So I'm surprised we haven't seen more drama than we have. As Cook comes up the hill for the final time. There it is.
Looking at the Cook. He was probably licking his chops for this race. He sitting outside the top 10 and, man, domination.
Going to make a ton of points up. Set quick time in practice, quick time in qualifying, and led every lap except for 2 of this race. As Chris Bass comes up the hill for the final time under the NTT bridge and under the tire rack, flag stand. Chris Bass coming home in second. Chris Jones up the hill. Final time for him. There is your podium. Cook, Bass, and Jones. Galinas up the hill for the final time. No pressure from behind as Chris Jones has fallen way off him. So Cook, James, Bass, Galinas, Jones, your top 5. We are going to have to wait until any of them show up in the chat here.
Yeah, after that, you got Rayborge, Lawrence, Leach, and Crowder coming across the line here.
Absolutely.
And then Jones, Ritchie, and Meza. That'll be 13th. 14th is Williams, it looks like it's going to be.
Right. And you can see the damage on the back bumper of the one of Williams. That's where the front end damage of Cook came. So
I think he might have been happy for that damage, man. He didn't slow him down a bit.
no, he actually gain speed from it.
Race, that was crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, that's you just got to wait for him to get into these guys to get into the team speak, and Arnie, I am going to. Can I have you jump up to Blackgate Motorsports for me, and ask those guys to get these guys into the Discord, please?
What team was that?
Leeches.
I think he's telling him on team chat, but I'll jump in there real
So,
What
again,
a fantastic race. That was really enjoyable.
it was a clinic. That was a clinic on how to drive this course, put on by the driver of the 95, Chris Cook, as he's getting ready to either do 11s or donuts. And we have, there go the 11s, and there goes the quarter panel. There goes the bumper.
It has been.
Hey, how about that? A
communicated
side we
for the
don't have to
drivers.
fix. I don't want you soft.
It's been communicated for the drivers to join their respective areas.
Absolutely. As now he gets the donuts just barely grazing the grass. Here comes second and third, Chris Bass and Chris James. Just again waiting on these guys to get into the team speak. And there we go. We are going to reach out now to the man who set quick time in qualifying, quick time in the hot lap session, and led all but 2 laps of this piece. The man who stunk up the show himself. Congratulations on the win, Chris Cook.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
So, talk us through going into the carousel with 5 to go. What happened between you and the one of Williams?
I think we both just couldn't make up our minds going left and right. Just kind of ran out of room, had a brain fart. But not too much damage done. Just bent up the front a little bit, but the car felt good.
And then you proceed to crank off the fastest lap of the race the following lap with the front end damaged.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask him, when you saw that crinkled hood pop up there, bud, did it actually help the car any? Were you any better through the corners? Because it kind of looked like when we went to your in-car there shortly after that, and it looked like you were gone on rails again.
Yeah, it was definitely a little sense of urgency there. For a sec, I was kind of worried about the temps. They increased a little bit there right after that happened, but thankfully they stayed pretty good, and I didn't know I was running so fast after that, but yeah, that's good to hear.
Now on the restart after the competition caution, were you as surprised as we were that Galinas held the field down as long as he did?
Well, we were actually going on green there, so
okay.
yeah, so I don't think that was strategic from him. But yeah, no, I got a great jump on that restart. I do remember that.
So were you worried about when you stayed out considerably longer than the rest of the field when they pitted? I mean, I brought up in the broadcast that you had, before the green flags pit started, I think it was a 10.5, maybe 11-second lead, and then you gained a little bit more after everybody stopped. But were you confident that 10.5, 11-second lead after you went into the pits was enough to keep that up front?
Yeah, I think so. It didn't really strike me until I saw the guys behind me kind of rattle off into the pits that I think they wanted fresh tires, or at first I thought they wanted fresh tires. I don't think James or Bass ended up taking any, because they had closed the gap when I exited the pits. They closed the gap about 4 or 5 seconds. So at first I thought they were going to take early tires and maybe try and run me down on some extra laps there, which did kind of make me doubt my choice, but it turned out okay in the end. My pace wasn't my pace on the old tires didn't fall off too much, where it fell back into their reach.
Well, moving forward, as the series, let me pull up my schedule. And of course, I don't have it in front of me. Ernie, where are we next week?
I believe, let me see, cup schedule. It's going to be Charlotte. It looks like it's the All-Star event.
So, moving into next week in Charlotte, your thoughts going from, this big monstrosity that is Road America and Elkhart Lake back to, the home of stock car country. Your thoughts going to Charlotte?
Honestly, my thoughts, would rather it was the Roval, to be quite honest. I got a lot of work to do if I'm going to be at the sharp end on the Charlotte Oval there. But yeah, some good momentum coming out of this round, so we'll see what we can do.
All right. Well, anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Just my teammates. If they're watching, Josh, Kevin, Nelson, all those guys, appreciate it. Thanks for the great call in the booth here, guys, and thanks Chris Jones for letting me do these one-offs here in the Chris Cup.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you next week in Charlotte.
All right, thanks. Cheers, guys.
All right. So that was your winner, Christopher Cook. And Ernie, I believe you've got our second place finisher, Mr. Chris Bass, with you right now.
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing, bud? Good run
I'm
today.
good.
We had some love for you from Ann in the chat there. She goes, "Come on, 97, let's do it!" And then you pull out with a second place finish, man. How was the race? I know I did a little bit of practice myself before the race came on, and I had trouble with it. Looked like you did pretty good.
Yeah, man. I don't know what it is about road courses. I've kind of taken to them pretty quickly, and I enjoy Road America. The race itself was just be calm, hit your marks, and just try not to get run over.
Yeah, I hear you. On that final pit stop, he stayed out longer than all you guys. Did you take tires or did you not take tires, or what was the strategy there on stopping a little bit early? And when you saw him stay out, what were you thinking?
I basically seen the guys behind me. I mean, it was really, to be bluntly honest about it, it wasn't a race for first. Cook basically had basically run away with it. Unless he had problems, there was no way we were going to catch him. And it was really a race for second. So when I seen the guys behind me, James and the Glenis, all those guys pitted, I figured it was time. And my good friend Brandon Wiggins brought me right down pit road, and we got 4 tires and just tried to hang on to second best we could.
Good job, bud. Good run, man.
I appreciate it.
Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, the guys on the cars, on my car, a V1 Rotate Simulation Technologies, Red Eye Designs. I'd like to thank Butt Kicker, DeMarzo's Gears, Simnut Racing Sims, Jones for the league we run in, and you guys at ESBN for the great broadcast y'all put on.
Now, real quick, as we go into next week's race at Charlotte, your thoughts as we go back to the 1.5 miles?
Oh, Charlotte's always a good time. It's always fun with these guys, and Charlotte's a home track for me, about 30 minutes down the road, so kind of pride myself on kind of being good there. I'd like to be good there anyway. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. Ready to go.
I got
All
one
right.
more before we let you go there. I see we got Charlotte 2 times in a row. The first one's going to be it looks like the All-Star race, and then the regular race at Charlotte. Is there a difference that you want to run there, or do you just run them both the same, like aggressiveness-wise?
The shorter the race, the more aggressive you kind of have to be there, because you can't pass very easily. It's mainly flat out, from what I remember. But all about positioning and being able to hold a straight line when you're running 2 and 3 wide there. So, yeah, the shorter the race, the more aggressive you have to be. But for the longer one, yeah, it's pace yourself and try to keep the fenders on it.
All right,
Well,
buddy. Congratulations
again,
on
sir.
second place finish.
I appreciate it, guys.
So that was our second place, Mr. Chris Bass. And joining us now, the driver of the two who was hoping to get the undercut, worked for a couple of laps, coming home in third, Mr. Chris James. Congratulations on the podium, sir.
Thank you. We'll take that one. I'm sweating so bad.
I was about to ask you, how difficult was it to navigate the very greasy track conditions today?
That was an extreme challenge all night, even from the start. Real quick, hats off to Christian Cook for putting on an absolute clinic. He's the definition of a ringer. Great job to him. And as the tires wore, it just got more fun. I'd say that.
Well, we saw a lot of you guys trying to audition for the next airing of Tokyo Drift, the second coming, most of the night. How bad was the tire wear, though?
I adjusted my my gearing as far as or downshifting as on that second run. I think I was killing it too much down in first gear. So there's some corners I was staying in second to try and conserve. So on that first run, my right rear was at 88. It was gone. It was definitely a challenge. And on that second run, I was just going to take it easy. I felt I had to get a pretty good pace with Bass, so I was just going to take it easy on that second run. And we were keeping on his bumper, and then Bailey he wanted to go, so I let him go. And I think he was wearing his equipment out a little bit. I saw him doing a lot of Tokyo drifting there in front of me, so I figured I'd just wait. But I got to the point. It's so hard to pass, so that's when I tried for the undercut. And at that point, when I came out ahead of Bass, I was like, okay, we might be able to work for a P2 here. Because I was thinking whoever comes out ahead and makes the least amount of mistakes is probably going to take P2. Well, you see who won that battle.
Well, it was a hard-fought battle for, the second and third step of the podium. And, all things considered, you can't be too disappointed after, everything that went on tonight.
Absolutely not. There was one moment in particular, I remember what lap, might have been the first turn, I went completely off and thought it was just going to be over. I think I might have spun all the way around, at least halfway. It was a scary moment, but yeah, all things considered, we're real happy with our finishing position tonight.
That would be lap 12 on the restart.
Oh, there you go.
But your thoughts moving forward next week to Charlotte?
Charlotte, I think that's everyone's favorite track. That should be fun. I think that's going to be a survival game coming down to it. But yeah, really looking forward to going there. I dare to say everyone probably has the most laps there from starting out their iRacing career and maybe spending some time in Rookie Street Stocks for a while to the Pickup Cup Series. So this should be fun. Everyone should be well versed with the track. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
All right. Well, anybody you want to thank before we let you go, sir?
Shout out to ESPN, you guys in the booth broadcasting. Y'all do an amazing job. Simnut, Butt Kicker, Marzio Gears, my guys over at CJR Motorsports.
All right. Well, hopefully we're talking to you again next week at roughly the same time frame. And best of luck to you. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
To you and yours, all you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Good run, bud. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ernest.
So that was our third place finisher, Mr. Chris James. And joining us now is driver of the 24 who came home in the number 5 slot after starting 18th. We are talking about Mr. Chris Ryan Jones. Talk us through how difficult it was to and how important track position was tonight in this event.
Man, Tony, I tell you, it's everything here. Man, what a blast. This is the first time I ever raced here, and I had so much fun. Definitely had my own mistakes there at the beginning, but once I was able to get a rhythm going, I was able to kind of catch up a little bit to the leaders. And It's just this slow and steady rhythm of getting into it each and every single lap. And this is a long racetrack. I mean, you're running 2 minutes every lap, and it just definitely puts a wear on you on each turn that you run.
How greasy was it for you on older tires?
For me, it was definitely a challenge. I usually love a loose race car, but at a road course, man, it is something else. That's for sure. Um, Needless to say, though, I had a blast with it. But once you get around 5 or 6 laps into a run, you really start feeling your rear end kind of get sideways. So you kind of got to brake it a little bit earlier and just kind of roll into the corners a little bit better. But once you get the rhythm of it, it's a lot of fun.
And we saw you go full send mode coming through the Canada corner with 2 to go. How difficult was Galinas making it to try to get by him tonight?
Yeah, it was tough. Definitely, I would catch up to him, and then I would end up making my own mistake and going out into the dirt. And yeah, that really cost me a little bit. But it's not easy passing here at any time. And needless to say, the 78 was. He was doing a great job. 98 was fun to race around with too, and Chris James, of course, battling him for the points. I think I should still have the lead on him, hopefully. But all in all, it was a lot of good racing and a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you about that. I got the point standings here in front of me, and it's you and Mr. James running there 1-2. Well, I saw that he kind of started up front there, and you elected. I don't know if you did it on purpose or just didn't have time to run a qualifying lap because it takes so long to get that 2 laps in. And if you mess up, you have to take that time. It's still early in the season, but it's got to feel pretty good to finish in front of the guy that's running in second in points, right?
Yeah, I was unable to qualify. I on my warm-up lap, I messed up, and at that point, it was already too late. Time was running out. So, but I was very confident that I could just be patient a little bit, and I'll be able to work my way up. James did finish 2 positions ahead of me, but to be able to finish 2 positions behind him, considering I started in the back, was a well-fought battle, and I'm really proud of myself today.
Yeah, you did a really good job coming from the back to the front, bud.
Absolutely. And congratulations, sir, on earning ESPN Driver of the Night.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate everything you guys do broadcasting us, and I look forward to watching the replay.
All right. Well, we will let you go, sir, and enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Tony. You too. You guys have a good one.
All right. So that is going to about do it for us tonight. Final thoughts, Ernie King.
I'll tell you what, for being a road course, it was a lot of fun to call the race. We saw a lot of fishtailing and driving, a lot of grass cutting. Of course, Mr. Cook kind of took the glamour away from everyone, as I would say, with just domination. But good race. Congrats to the top 5. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that's generally referred to as stinking up the show. Kevin Cunyu, your final thoughts.
I had a great time. I love coming here to Road America. And, great to see Cook take it. Yeah, it was a great race overall. I'm going to throw up the grid or the standings.
No, don't throw up. Nobody wants to see that.
Or hear
quick rundown of our final finishing order. Congratulations again to Chris Cook for just dominating this thing and putting on a clinic as far as how to manhandle a 3,660-pound stock car around a 4-mile road course. Coming home with the victory. Chris Bass able to hang on for second after starting second. Chris James started third, finished third. Chris Bailey Galinas coming home in fourth after starting 12th. Ryan Jones, ESPN Driver of the Night, started 17th, finished 5th. Chris Robert coming home in 6th. Chris Lawrence in 7th. Christopher Jonathan Leach The first car 1 lap down, coming home in 8th. Chris Crowder in 9th. Chris Reese in 10th. CJ Jones in 11th. Chris Ritchie in 12th. 13th going to Chris Raul Meza. Christopher B. Williams in 14th. Chris C. Corvo in 15th. Chris Landy in 16th. 17th, he's Chris Papa. CJ Mason in 18th. And Chris Otto, the first one to call no mas, coming home in 19th. We do need to give a quick thank you to DeMarzo's Gears for all your drivetrain needs. DeMarzo's Gears, 661-212-3389. Our good friends at SimNut Racing Sims for all your peripheral needs. SimNut Racing Sims, you can find them on their Facebook page. And our very good friends over at Butt Kicker, you can feel what you're missing with a butt kicker on your seat. We also need to give a good thank you to our sponsor for ESPN. That, of course, is Diecast Nuts. DIECASTNUTZ. Nuts.com. You can also find them on their Facebook page, facebook.com/Diecast Nuts. And with the holidays coming, their shop section for all your gearhead needs. That is going to do it for us tonight. Go ahead and hop on over to the other broadcast that is just starting underway. That is going to be with Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett, Mr. Byron Rodney, in the broadcast booth for Kentucky with the Kicking Asphalt MPI Cup Series. That is going to be on this channel next.
That should be a good race. Have a good evening, guys. Had fun.
So for Mr. Ernie King, for Mr. Kevin Cunha, this is Tony Trapasso saying, as you walk down the road of life, don't play in traffic.